Hello. I just made this hangout public. Did I really? No, I didn't.
What? Is that the term for making it?
Live, I guess? Yeah, I guess so.
It didn't say successfully made it live, so. It only does that when Scott uses it.
Yeah, I like the idea. PeeWee Rota has been successfully terminated.
Terminated.
So, leaving off from the events, basically, you're there being, you're perched over Evan's shoulder as you're heading towards the mirror, and Evan's speaking to Liz Howe, who's forever, grateful and thankful. The bloody rain has receded. It's not raining blood anymore. I might have missed that part. Khan used his spirit magic. Sorry, Simone had used his spirit magic to discern the ghosts around, and he actually successfully managed to command two ghosts, two spirits, to watch over the Reverend's dead body, in case watch him and don't let him return. So he actually used his mage abilities to contact the dead there.
Mm-hmm.
As he was doing that, so he enlisted two spirits of the past to watch over Samuel Paris's you're presuming dead body.
Right.
Sorry?
I'm glad I didn't choose Gatekeeper, because I might have had a problem with him.
Now, Evan's conversation with Liz saying, you can come through the mirror if you want, but Liz is like, as tempting as it is, I thank you, but I think I should stay behind and be kind of like a beacon of light for what's to come for the people. And to stay and try and find my family and console my family. There goes my camera. Now, Evan gives her back her family heirloom, which mysteriously, that amulet that was lodged into the thug's body so long ago, is a family heirloom, and she's reunited with it, and the odd glow and heat signature on it stops when it's back in her possession. And it's an old family heirloom. And so now, only thing left in front of you is that mirror. And almost nobody to be found, though. You're feeling somewhat odd, though. Like this connection, you're somewhere in this bridge gapped between the living and the dead. But you can seem to perceive both of them almost equally.
So I can see this mirror, and I can see this strange plane of existence.
Yes. In fact, everything around you, you almost feel this ominous feeling on the side of the mirror that you're on.
So I can see this river, and I can hear Come Sail Away playing in the background.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
The river Styx.
But also this ominous feeling of where you are. I mean, as far as you know, you're back in time, but there's something different about it. Something darker about this side of the mirror that you didn't quite catch on, but in the state that you're in, you're feeling somewhat open to it. You're somewhere in the middle. You're bridging the gap. It's like this weird conduit.
After I look around, the first thing I do is try to feel my wounds to see if they're still there.
Your wounds are still there.
Oh.
In fact, you're quite gashed up on your whole chest. You've got 3 large gashes in there.
So I just kind of poke it and go, ah!
Oh yeah, it hurts.
Wicked.
It hurts, and you're pretty drained for energy.
Stupid werewolves.
Now that's actually rational coming out of your mouth. All this time you're like, stupid werewolves, damn vampires. Now this time, oh my god, damn werewolf.
Yeah. Stupid werewolf. I'm right.
I'm right this time, I'm right.
Really was a werewolf.
I'm curious though. We
I
have
feel
a
like
viewer.
justified.
Just make sure I want to make sure he gets this. Okay. All right. Now, should you step through the mirror? Do you think it's time to go back home? Are you done with this place?
This is a voice talking to me.
Yes, this is my voice talking to you. Well, actually, hold on. Yes, there's a voice talking to you asking, "Are you ready to go back to your time and see what it has to offer to you?"
I'm gonna ask. Um, I don't know. What is this place?
That you stand in right now?
Yes,
You are on the complete other side of the gauntlet.
the gauntlet. I'm gonna try to use some of my physical senses to feel around, and I'm pretty sure that they're gonna not feel right because I don't have any physical senses. And
Uh,
as a
well, you feel you want to feel around. This is back, back still in Salem, right?
um, yes.
Okay.
So I'm like grabbing the dirt and smelling it and trying to see, like, am I alive? What's going on?
You're alive, though the sense of you seem to be keen that there's something really ominous about this place. It's everything you sense is like flesh and just rotten. Almost anything you touch, if you try and smell the dirt, if you try and take a deep breath in the air, it's nasty.
I'm gonna take that in and find, just sort of getting this sense of dread from it. Like, it's not a place I want to be in. I'm gonna look, directly at the mirror and say, "Is there much to learn over there on the other side?"
There is all too much to learn. What you have done will surely affect what is to become. Yes, I made it rhyme.
Garth, that's a haiku. Um, are you trying to help me?
I perhaps might have an offer for you, though if it's helpful to you or not, it all depends. Though I could give you a second chance, if you will.
Will I be helping others like me?
Should should you choose to take that path, though, you will find others like you that do not share the same interests. But
Is there
how you will go about it is your own choice.
is there a such thing as ghosts?
Ghosts is one way to put it, though they're kind of a lesser entity, if you will. Ghosts are just the bottom of the bottom of the iceberg, if you will. Just the tip of the iceberg, actually.
Yes, I knew it. And then I'm in.
If you choose, as you're slowly losing life, if you step through the mirror, everything that you have known will not be the same. And everything that you've experienced can lend a hand in shaping this future for you. But you will not know until you step through.
I don't see a problem with that. I think I'm starting to feel, as I'm considering the offer, my humanity coming back. I'm less of a embodiment of my emotions and more of a being able to think and rationalize, and I like that feeling, so I'm going to definitely say yes.
Okay. So now you're all making your way through the mirror. Now, off the record, I'm pretty sure all the other guys were just ready to step through the mirror anyways. That's pretty much where they were going. So I don't think it's going to bother anybody that this session is pretty much you guys stepping through the mirror.
They've been NPC'd.
They've been at, yeah, I've railroaded you through the mirror.
As long as they haven't been TPK'd, we're good.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, everybody was pretty much doing that, but at the time it was everybody was like, okay, we got to go to bed now. But
yeah.
Now you step through this mirror, and only when your body is completely fully through, could you perceive what's on the other side. But Joshua, you notice that when you're stepping through, you still and you're halfway through, you can still see that dark void. But this dark void is swarming. It is like there's voices screaming at you in your head, and you can see spirits flying around. And there, it's just an endless pool of spirits. And as soon as your body is fully through, you've snapped back into what you thought was where you had come from, but it looks nothing like it used to. In fact, there's a bunch of puzzled-looking women looking straight at you and your buddies in complete awe. And to your surprise, this isn't just a small little room in the top of an inn. This is a massive cathedral hewn in stone with pagan symbolism all around you. And this place is massive. This place is easily 10 times the size of the building you thought you walked into.
Is there these symbols? Do I know anything about these symbols with my occult? Like anything useful?
Give me a roll.
What's
with
that?
your sorry, do you have no? Your specialty is ghosts still, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, don't include your skill specialty, but give me an occult and intelligence roll.
I'll take intelligence. 3 and 4.
And Steve, if that's you watching, feel free to come in. Or edit, yeah, whoever. I don't want them to think I'm going behind their back and like, I'm doing a session without you guys.
3.
3. Now you're looking at. You say, "Wow, this is exactly like exactly to the T, like this amulet that you had found much earlier before. This pagan Wiccan amulet representing free will and reincarnation. But you also you can also discern that there's this air about it that relates to Elizabeth Howe. And then you notice there's a statue of her on either side of far across the cathedral. There's stone statues of her on either side. And looking very, very heroic, in a sense.
Do I see any spirits like the ones that I had seen swirling around?
Do you need to make any?
Are they still there?
Is this something you can openly see? You don't have to make any rolls for this?
Yes, if I'm willing to perceive, then yeah, I can openly see them.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't try to hide my abilities. I mean, not hide, but shut them out while I'm watching a movie. That's the example. If you're watching a movie.
Right. Right, so if you're willing to perceive them, you can perceive them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, seeing and talking are the two free things that I can do. It's the other stuff, like interacting and telling them to manifest, stuff like that, that's I have to roll for.
You can tell spirits to manifest? Ooh.
Yeah, I can ask them to do friendly things. They don't have to comply.
Joshua, the master of poltergeists. Yes, in fact, if you were willing to see, and maybe you didn't realize no, you have to realize you're willing, but there's something about your experience that has left you open and wanting to see what's on the other side of this world you've been kind of on the brink of, like spirits all over the place. And these are for the most part fallen ancestors, or they seem to have a deep connection with this cathedral that you're in.
My character's a lot of his adult life he's been spending searching for ghosts, and this is like a validation point for him. So it's less alarming and more like, hey, I finally can do it. Sweet. Like, I've been trying this for a long time. It's like it's not a bad surprise, but like like the first time you figure out how to do something really hard, like cartwheels or paddleball games. It's a little bit more macabre than that. So I get a rush from this. I can see it. I can see it. Like, I'm saying that out loud. People are probably looking at me weird.
Oh yes, and speaking of, there's still a bunch of women looking around. Now, the way a lot of these women are dressed, it's very, some of them are actually dressed kind of scantily, I guess you could say. You know by the way they're dressed that you're definitely back in your time, though.
One of those kinds of games, I see.
Yes, there's some that are scantily dressed. One woman kind of looks maybe more like like a librarian, but there's all kinds. You have, but the one thing you notice though is they're all women though. You don't see any males, and they're looking and they can see that you kind of have this look of shock on your face. Now that they're not quite sure. But in front of you, you can see a desk with many books, and it's almost like you're in the library section of this cathedral. There's many, many, many books. And the librarian lady seems to notice before the others. The others are just looking in utter, what the hell. And this woman takes the initiative to say, okay, now what just happened is awfully weird, but you don't look well. We have to do something about this. I don't know where you come from, but it's obvious to me that you are in danger, mortal danger.
I've kind of forgotten about the wounds for that moment when I was seeing all these ghosts, and now I'm going to look back again and see this bloody, tattered shirt and be like,
"Oh yeah,
ow."
Oh yeah, that werewolf, God damn, yeah, you clawed me. Mm.
And at this point, I'm getting this voice in the back of my head. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's saying, what is this? What are these people doing? Kind of a feminine voice. What are these people doing?
Well, the lady introduces herself. My name is Magdalene, and I am. Let's say she is the. Now I'm actually, because I haven't thought through maybe the hierarchy, but I'm going to start making it in my head now. So this lady introduces herself as Magdalene, and she is the Grand Mistress as opposed to a Grand Master. But let's think of that. But she's
Okay.
I am Magdalene, Grand Mistress of the first house of the lady.
The lady?
The lady, yes. Then again, we don't know where you came from, but we're in 1992, Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes, that's where I came from. Like, you mean your name's Magdalene? You're talking about Mary.
Mary Magdalene. No. Please hold your possibly Christian beliefs. We don't follow these things here. My name is Magdalene. Just Magdalene.
Just Magdalene.
No Judeo-Christian affiliation, please.
So this is not Lady of Grace.
Lady of Grace. No, I refer to the Lady Liz Howe.
Then I kind of look around a little bit and whisper a little bit. You're not Mormons, are you?
No.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
So you claim to be from this. You claim to be from here, but you're not familiar with the first house of the lady?
No, nope. Can't say I am.
Okay, so maybe your injuries are affecting your memory. But yes, this is the first house of the lady. This used to be the abode of Elizabeth Howe hundreds of years ago. She's the founder of this order.
That when she says the name again, and my character kind of brushed by it the first time, I get kind of like a kick in the back of my head. Ow! Oh, Elizabeth Howe, Liz. I saw her ghost once.
Did you really? You can see ghosts.
Well, it was kind of a silhouette. I I'm a mechanic. You can see. I probably have like still the oil all over. Or no, I'm in the Puritan clothing, aren't I?
Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
are. Yes.
So they can't really tell that I'm a mechanic. I'm a mechanic, but I've been dabbling in ghost hunting. I'm the if it weren't for this werewolf right here, the other werewolves that's been stopping me from my real visions and trying to find ghosts, and I finally saw one, and it was right next to. I pointed at the mirror. That mirror.
Yes, this mirror which you just appeared to come from, and you're donning robes from her time, and you claim to have seen her ghost. Now this,
Yeah, it's well, actually, I don't know that you need to know that yet, but this is all in character, by the way. This is not what I normally wear. Normally, ripped jeans. I got to do the cool stuff. You've seen Wayne's World, right?
Wayne's. Yes, that's in theaters now. Actually, it just came out.
Excellent. Okay, I'm Megadeth shirt, ripped jeans. I'm pretty cool for this time, and yeah, this is the stuff I had to wear while I fought that werewolf.
Werewolf. So you're telling me you come from the past, and you encountered a werewolf, and you've also contacted the spirit of Elizabeth Howe?
You're not alarmed by the fact that I went into the past, because it sure scared the heck out of me.
Well, we've only gotten so far as to be able to. We've been able to contact spirits through extensive rituals, and we've seen the past. Though lately it had been a little clouded, as if it wasn't sure of itself. Now, we figured it was just a miscast, but I think things are starting to make more sense now.
Then maybe you wouldn't be too alarmed if I told you that I was just talking to Liz Howe.
Well, that is that would have been a supreme honor. You spoke to her as a living person.
Um, well, I was a living person at the time. Now I'm not so sure. Ow.
Hmm.
Then I'm just gonna kind of just be like, here, let me show you. I'm gonna walk up and try to put my hand through the mirror. Pretty like confident that it's gonna go through it. So I'm like not hard enough to punch it, but just like enough that if it's solid, it's gonna hurt.
Yes, and your hand does go through, and this just baffles the woman. Now, that's okay. That's incredible. I mean, the things we do here, it's not beyond us, but we've tried nothing on this mirror. It seems to be doing this on its own. I don't understand how, but I suppose what we deal with here, it's not so distant from our abilities, but this is just incredible.
This is out of character here. She doesn't understand how, but she's the Grand Puma of how. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually pretty surprised that the mirror is working out of character. So anyway, I'm gonna let her. I'm gonna make this comment. Do you know Thomas Reed? He told me about this story. You might have heard. It's called a Sound Thunder.
A what?
A sound of thunder. That means that if you go in there and you step on a butterfly, you guys might not exist anymore. And having not really cared much for sci-fi stories, this thing's starting to like click in my head. I wonder if that's what happened to me.
Uh, Thomas Reed. Thomas Reed. Thomas Reed. Uh, yes, he owns a coffee shop not far from here. A lot of the girls make runs there, but it's been weeks since the place has been open. We don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I work right next to him. He's a buddy of mine. He's got this crappy old Volkswagen Beetle. I'm always fixing that thing up. But yeah, I mean, this is. I stepped into a mirror in the Lyceum. I was investigating ghosts. I'm parked right outside.
Yes, you would be. The Lyceum. The Lyceum. What? I just told you, you're not in the Lyceum. It's the Lyceum.
Well, it's this fancy restaurant. Bathrooms are nice. It's got a bar next to a graveyard. Oh yeah, is that guy? Did you hear about that? I don't know if it's made the news yet. Guy got, I don't know, hung from a tree somehow. Found a photograph. I'm gonna reach into my pocket. I don't know if it's still in there or not. Try to grab the photograph and say, had this, in the back of his car. Is he? You know if how he's doing? You might have some questions.
Man, yeah, we did hear a story about a couple of thugs that were arrested, and they did find a body. It was odd though. There was no car. It appeared he had just hung himself.
Hung himself?
Yes, there was no car involved, but this happened in the graveyard not too far from here.
The graveyard.
Oh, but this was about a month ago now.
Ooh. My, how time flies. I'm sure that my fenders have finished rusting at this point. I'm gonna do the thing that I keep doing. I'm gonna poke the wound again and say, by the way, you said something about this wound here. Is there? Do you have a first aid kit?
Yes, we should get to that. I'm sorry, I've taken your time. It's just we'll have to look into this later. And then she looks over at the other girls and nobody tamper with this mirror and don't you dare step through it. But this is we have some facilities here that they're a little bit more, I should say, holistic than maybe what you're familiar with, but we are nowhere near expensive as your local hospital. But then again, local hospitals they're a dying trade. Most people come to us for holistic healings. We're, if you will, one of the great hospitals of Salem. And we can patch that up for you. Although it might be hopefully not out of your comfort zone. You don't have any problem with laying within pentagrams and being part of a ritual, are you?
Hold on, I'm thinking out of character here. Are you talking about using some kind of magic?
Well, yes. It's the oldest of pagan traditions. In fact, Liz Howe used it to cure many diseases. Arguably, it's paganism. It's quite prominent, and it's known to do wonders.
Now, I know normally I would be fascinated by this, and I would love to study it, and I would love to be on the outside looking in, but being on the inside of this thing, I mean, you guys are in the darkness, and you're humans, right?
Well, humans, one way to put it. We like to consider us neo-pagans, and We're as human as we let ourselves be.
So no vampires, no crazy monsters sewn together by mad scientists. We're all humans, right?
I do advise you never to bring up a vampire. In fact, those that shall not be named, it's we've we're not too on very good grounds with them, if you will. Uh, Now they have most of New York is flooded with them, and we've had our fair share of run-ins. We try to stay out of their turf, but we've just the thought of mentioning one. Just don't even mention them. It is said that if you so much as mention one at the wrong time, that they will find us and they'll attack. And this has happened before, and we cannot afford to lose any more of our order.
Is there any change in like the people around, like any vampires showing up that I would have supernatural sense to see?
Uh, in the immediate area, you mean?
Yeah, like did me mentioning one make one appear?
No, no, not at this
Okay.
time. No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to. I mean that. Yeah, that's very reasonable within my character. I'm going to say that uh, I'm happy that somebody else knows what those little bloodsuckers know, that those bloodsuckers exist, and as long as I'm not too thrilled about being in this ritual, but as long as I know that they're people just like me, then I'm fine. It's not gonna offend my pride.
And another reason, and I would think you would have known this, is not everybody is so aware of them as you might say, and we're constantly accused of being, or historically at least, we were constantly accused of being in league with them. But I assure you, we're not. Though we may share some belief systems, they are something completely different. Though not everybody knows about them, and for good reason. They feed on fear, and if too many mortals, if you will, knew about them, it would only make things worse. The less people know about, the better. So I advise you,
All right.
don't bring them up.
I can play ball, and I'm gonna just follow her and just desperately seek whatever kind of help that I can get to fix up the gaping hole in my chest.
Right now, we're going to uh, we're going to have to use some of your blood in this ritual. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a ritual that will take some time, though it is quite effective. If you would allow us, we notice that you have severe blood clot, and if we could just take some of these wrappings, if there's anything we can extract, we can draw the pentagram from your blood before it dries, and this will greatly improve the effectiveness of the ceremony.
I tear a piece off, hand it to her, and say, "Hey, if you need any more, go through the mirror or go to the courthouse. It's all over."
Well,
But watch out for werewolves. Ugh.
this is what you've claimed to have been attacked by.
Um, as much as I can remember of it, I think he was sore that I just kind of kicked his butt, and then, man, he just went crazy, and all a blur from there.
Now, how you survived an encounter with such a powerful predator, we're not sure.
I'm getting like a tingling in the back of my head again, and I'm like, I don't know either, and just kind of getting annoyed. Like a headache's coming on is what I think is going on.
Okay, well, the lady, Magdalene, takes off the wrappings that the others had patched you up, which has got a significant amount of blood clotted into there, and it hasn't yet dried up. So they begin to draw the shape of a pentagram. They squeeze out the rags, and they tear off whatever they can salvage, and they begin to pour it's as best as they can make the shape of a pentagram, and they lay off the rest of the the cloth within, and they put a little pillow there for you to rest your head on, and they you're gonna have to go in the middle of the pentagram, but not yet. We need to allow the blood to coagulate.
Yeah, I'm still a bit uneasy, but I'm just gonna comply and like grab a piece of fabric and just kind of hold it while I'm basically going against the kinds of stuff that I don't normally do. Going against my normal inhibitions or inhibitions, whatever the word is.
Now, as after a couple, let's say about 20 minutes or so, the blood begins to dry up enough that it won't smear when you lie on it, as long as you lie completely still. And of course, they start setting up candles all around the pentagram where the points meet the circles. So five candles. Now you're gonna have to excuse us. We're gonna have to ward off this area with as best as we can and we're gonna have to close off the house for the time being, because we don't want any outer threats. When casting a ritual like this, we're kind of opening up a lot of barriers that we don't need any malevolent beings making their way, trying to take you over while this is happening.
What kind of threats?
Demonic, mostly. We work very close a lot of times with demonic entities. Now, they're not all bad, though they are tricksters.
Out of character, do demons count as underworld beings, or are they a different class of...
Well, the underworld, I think that the Geists are familiar with, are like on the first level. They're like right below.
Okay.
As far as I remember reading that in the book, they're kind of like right above the actual, like, the demonic underworld. So no, it wouldn't be the same.
Okay, so, well, there's, maybe this is just similar terminology. There's a high place and a low place, which designates the concept of...
You're on the high place, right? Isn't that what it is? The
well,
underworld?
no, the low place is normally... The most common way to get into the underworld is a low place. And it talks about, like, lower sections of the underworld, and then the high places go to the higher sections of the underworld in a class, some sort of classification. So the idea is that the... Carabai? No, that's not the word for it. The protectors of the old law, whatever they're called, they are in the lowest depths of the underworld. So, are we talking about an entire place that the lowest depths of the underworld can't reach?
Well, probably not. I guess that would encompass the 9 layers of hell, then. Though I'm not sure.
All I'm asking is, can I look around and see if they're here right now?
Well, you did, and so far you don't see anything, but...
Okay.
I
don't know how I know, but they're not here right now. That's what I'm gonna say.
I would assume, though, yeah, it is part of the underworld. These are just, like, much, much deeper in the underworld, probably where geists don't reside, but arguably doesn't mean they can't access it. If it is all the underworld, so...
Kerboroi. That's the protectors of the old law. Then there's the Cthulians that are below that.
And then you get to demons, and then you get to the hierarchy of devils.
No. Chthonians, not Cthulians. Chthonians. Yeah, I always get those two mixed up.
Now the rituals that we're performing, we're just warning you. I understand you claim you can't see any, but once the ritual is underway, and this is going to take at least a day, if that all goes well, it always invites. It could invite a lot of unseen and evil forces within. Naturally, these are our rituals are naturally somewhere in the balance, and it invites both benevolent and malevolent spirits. So we always have to take proper measures.
A day? Oh, I know this outpatient stuff's getting popular, but man, that's pretty good.
Well, it'll roughly take a day where you'll have to be stationary, though the effects, the healing process, if you will, happens over time. You won't be completely revitalized, but at least the ceremony itself will have been completed within a day if everything's done properly. Though we advise that you take it very easy afterward.
Sure. Whatever you say, Doc.
Now, they go and they take some of their books off the shelves, and the girls, the other girls comply to Magdalene's orders to begin warding off. So they do their witchcraft magic upon the walls, you know, following the books that they have to ward off against evil spirits. You know, a very basic pagan kind of ritual.
Mm.
And Magdalene, after it's all done, Magdalene and four others, the four most powerful beneath her, form a circle around you, and they begin chanting in this old kind of this old Gaelic tongue, waving their hands, and the candles basically the stronger their chants, the more the flames arise on the candles. Basically, the stronger the flame. Now, this goes on for about a good 10 minutes, and you start feeling very intruded upon, but not. It's nothing evil. It's actually a very familiar presence. And they speak to you. Hey, remember me?
Who is that?
Now, as you're asking yourself, you realize that you heard the chanting, but all you can see is a red, almost like your blood is glowing. You can see a red outline of this pentagram, and the candles are there. And this, you can hear kind of like a, almost like stone rumbling. And one of the statues of Liz Howe is just all of a sudden right in front of you. And it's like moving.
Like a vision, or like it's literally like right in front of me?
To you, it seems like it's right in front of you.
Okay.
Like the statue move, but you can't see. You can hear faint chanting going on, but you don't see the women, but you see the statue, and it's the statue of Liz, and standing there, you know, heroically, and she has that pagan amulet on her. But it's a statue, and it doesn't actually move, but you would think, is this talking to me? And she asks, hey, do you remember me?
Liz?
Yeah. So, yeah. Like what I did with the place?
Yes, I suppose. Yeah, am I stoned? Because you certainly are. She has no idea what that means, I'm guessing.
No. That's something that happens to you when you're really bad. Now, this might seem confusing to you, Joshua, but after you guys took down Samuel Paris, things really changed, and I'm kind of a big deal now, I guess you could say. Well, thanks to you, a lot has changed. We were able to freely believe in what we wanted, and I kind of started this little pagan order with a lot of the girls. But we weren't bad, except for maybe those two little brats that got us all in trouble. But yeah, we're kind of pagans, and I started this thing, and it started off really well, and we kind of got more in touch with our own pasts, and it just, I guess it just kind of took off, and people are more accepting of pagans and Wiccans now, and yeah, so kind of like started this thing, and it's gotten really big, and Now everybody's worshipping me. Now she sounds like she's in her 20s, kind of naive a little bit,
Hmm.
but the statue is clearly she's much older, and she's like a fully grown woman in the statue. The statue doesn't quite match. Like, you're hearing the voice of a 20-year-old, but you're looking at the
Right.
statue of like a 40-year-old.
How do you know all this? I left you in 1692.
Yeah, and that's just it. You left me, but you saved me first, and you saved a lot of people. And after you'd left, things really changed. I mean, it's not like Christianity fell, but who would have knew that Samuel Paris was some kind of oppressive werewolf that found out how to cross the gauntlet? And he was worried that mages, as he called them, would interfere, and that he used the word of God as an excuse to fool everybody. He had that whole town in his grasp, and he had complete control over the material in the Shadow Realm, and you guys managed to stop him and break the bond. And it was all one big trick, we found out. But the trials never happened, and they were renounced, and later on we broke from English law. So breaking free from English law, well, eventually everybody, our little colony became its own thing, and we were free to do as we did. And I was kind of at the forefront of everything. I was the older of most of the girls, and a lot of the adults were killed off by ergot poisoning much later on. Unfortunately, we didn't have a means of fixing it, and I just wanted to help everybody. So I got some of the girls together, and we jumped into this belief, and we practiced our spells and our magic, and we really made something of it. And it's all thanks to you guys.
So what you're saying is he was right about you being a witch.
I guess kinda, but he was using that as an excuse. Don't let him trick you.
Oh, he's a werewolf. I hate him.
I mean, we were witches in the sense that we were pagan witches. I mean, it's an old belief, and well, I guess he was kind of right, but we weren't a threat to anybody. We're in touch with nature. We're all about balance and nature and free spirit and believing in many different gods, and we're not any different than your regular, Christian.
Well, if I wasn't okay with that, then the grandmother over there would have had a problem with me. So we're good.
But yeah, that's kind of what happened. So I remember when I first contacted you, and I'm not sure how I remember, but I remembered I cried out for help for hundreds of years, and you all finally found me and you helped me, and I can still remember that. But everything, when I come back here, everything is different. It's like as if when you went back, you changed the future, but I still exist in both, and I'm not sure how, but I think it has something to do with the connection that we had once you crossed over between time. Maybe it was the family heirloom.
Hmm. I haven't had the chance to ask you this yet. Maybe you remember this. Did you do that to that guy on the tree?
The guy on the tree. Yes, I did. Why did I do it? He hurt my friend. That's why I did it.
Your friend was the woman your friend?
The woman, yeah, she... I don't remember how, but yeah, Katie. Katie was her name. That's why I put the photo in. For some reason, I had a bond with her. But I can't remember how. But I knew her I knew her somehow. And Katie, that's why I put the picture in. And when he stole her purse, I was I felt scared and angry. So I made him crash. And I made it look like he hung himself. And the amulet, I put that there, hoping that somebody would find it. And you found it. That's how you came. But that was me.
You seem to have a lot of anger towards the living. I think I can help you.
How can you help me?
I don't know. I feel compelled to help.
Well, I have anger to the living if they deserve it. For some reason, I'm able to control my path, and I think that's because of the beliefs, or maybe it's just the amulet, or maybe it's a mix of both, but I felt compelled to inflict harm on those who deserved it, and he deserved it. But there was something different, and I can't remember why, but it wasn't just because he stole her purse. There was something, and I can't remember, and I feel like I need to find out why.
Do you want me to solve this for you, or are you happy here?
Well, it's kind of boring, but I can do whatever I want to, really, and maybe there's something we can work out. What did you have in mind?
I came across a book once, and it talked about people who needed help getting past their problems. I feel compelled to help people get past their problems, not people who aren't there anymore. You know what I mean?
I think that's what drew me to you. There was something about your knowledge. There was something about you that it was just. I knew that you were the right person to go to, but I couldn't quite figure out why. Maybe in a sense it's because you believed that I exist, but you just didn't have a way of proving it, but you knew deep down inside.
So let me do something out of character. So there is the voice in the back of my head. Is this the same voice?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Is it the same entity?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The voice. Oh, the voice in the back of your head. On the other side of the mirror. Yeah, we'll say that. I didn't. I kind of voiced it a little differently, but yeah, we'll say it is. It
okay.
is. That's.
Do I really feel compelled to help this person cross over, or do I feel compelled to stay with them? Because I think that's something that my abilities would grant me to know her intentions.
Yes, you could read into her intentions if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's something you can do, and you can sense that. You can sense that she has a great amount of pride in what she was able to accomplish, but her death, although you saved her from something extremely terrible, and the fact that she might have been stuck in a completely different afterlife, you can still sense that she has this hatred towards certain types of people that murder without good reason, and that her spirit has been attracted to inflicting pain and death upon those that deserve it. which is what you might be piecing together by the thug that she had hung. There was something to that, but you feel like this very sound hatred coming from her, and it's something that she's very compelled to do, though she's still limited to how she can do it.
Right. I think I have one final question for her, which is if she would feel better if the thug in this world survived.
No, no,
Learned his lesson and survived.
no, he didn't deserve it. There was something I can't remember. It's not coming to me, but there's a reason. There was something he did. It was I had to use all my energy. There's only so much I can do to affect the living, as I am, and there was something so bad that he had done, and he had to pay for it. I would never wish him to be granted a second chance. But you, on the other hand, there's something about you that I'm drawn to, and I feel that you deserve a second chance. And I can't help but think that there was a way that I could help you with that. If we were to combine somehow, but I'm not sure how to do it, but this ritual gives me some kind of a power that I feel like I can do it.
I'm gonna give her permission, but before I do that, I'm gonna say one last thing to kind of test her, her own personality. I'm gonna say, are these people crazier than I am?
No, these are some of the most honorable people you might ever meet in your life. They might seem a little odd to you given the changes that have happened, but no, these are very, very, very sane people.
Close enough. And I'm gonna I don't know if I have the knowledge on how to do the actual bargain, or if she does, but I'll agree to it and do what I can.
Now, this ritual, out of character, how does this? How did rituals, or how do the bargains usually go about? Is this just a verbal agreement?
Yeah, it's not verbal. It's in this weird supernatural language, but it's just an agreement.
Okay, and then she flies into you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, it like enters my bloodstream, and she turns into this parasite that that doesn't exist in the physical world.
Okay, and you've got a lot of open bloodstream to enter right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She grants me this access to this plasm, which does wonders for my skin. No, it enters the bloodstream and gives her access to the physical world, and me vice versa. So it's like the plasm is what binds us, sort of.
Now, I alone can only do so much. Maybe you've heard of me. I'm a sort of poltergeist, and I can manipulate things around me to a certain extent, but it uses up so much energy. But it's this energy that I have that mortals such as yourself don't have. But I alone can't do so much. But if we somehow created a bond, and she's looking at your wounds, I have a clear opening right now. If we had created a bond, I could grant you my power, this ghostly power that I have, yet I would still have you walking the mortal coil. But in a sense, you'd be immortal, because I am already dead.
When I was trapped on the other side of that mirror in my state of death, I don't know how else to put it, I felt this fire burning in my gut. Do you have that same fire?
I do, but I can't. I can only manifest so much on my own.
I feel if we don't both have that fire, it might burn us both.
And she definitely does. You can sense she has this very kind of irrational hatred towards, because of the way that she was murdered, like, irrationally. She was
Stupid.
murdered. Yeah, she was murdered, very kind of heinously, and she didn't do anything to deserve it. So she is filled. You can sense she is filled with this burning desire to inflict pain to those who harm others without, good enough reason, who just do it for the sake of doing it.
Mm.
And things like this is actually what gives her her power to manifest, though she only has so much power that on her own. She has to use up so much of her own power to physically harm, yet if she had a physical entity already, then she would simply be able to grant you this power on top of what you already have physically.
Right. Um, the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach out and hold something in my hand. It's not really there yet, but she can see it, and I don't know where it came from, but it's this knife. It's this ornate knife from. It looks kind of rusted, but it's not. It's still sharp. It's got a symbol scratched out, and the symbol is of the British flag, and it's got a crown on the hill on the pommel. It doesn't really have a pommel, but a small pommel with a little crown on it. And I don't know how I know it exists. It just exists, and I know it's. She knows something about it, and I say, "Is this yours?" And I just hold my hand out, and she sees it, and I don't really see it, but I know it's there.
And when she sees this knife, in fact, from what you see of the statue, it begins just kind of like this aura comes out, and from you can see the statue completely bursts, and you can see the image of her being stabbed multiple times by this knife, and this sensation that you're feeling is of despair and anger. As you can see that this was the knife that was used to murder her.
I'm definitely sympathizing with that, with my need to help the ghost, and I somehow make it disappear. I don't know how I do it, but it's gone. To try to give her some relax, yeah, let her relax a little bit.
Now, this knife, I don't know how you found it, but I was murdered with that knife. Everything was going well, and then the war was going on, and I had no choice. I had to let the guard come in, and they did things to me that I didn't want them to do. And I felt so powerless against them. And then I became more defensive towards their advances. And once they finally had enough of my resistance, they decided to murder me.
Would you like me to find this ghost, or would you like me to find his spirit?
If you could find a spirit. I've looked very long and hard for it, but I know it's out there. But there are many spirits to deal with. There's a lot of vengeance to be wrought here. And I feel so compelled to do it. Everybody, they all have to pay, and this spirit, if you can find it, well, we can find it together. I know he's out there.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure how this works, but this ritual cast, it's leaving you open, and your drawings, you still have so much blood. There's so many. We have such an open connection that I think I can just merge with you through will if you willed it.
Yes.
And in that moment, I guess she said something along the lines of "See you on the other side." And the ghost just goes. She morphs right into the open wounds, and you feel this extremely burning sensation. And all of a sudden, you wake up, and the ladies are still chanting. And it's like, well, the ladies are still chanting, and they all look in complete awe at you. Says, no, this can't be. Now Magdalene stops, and she's like, no, this can't be. We've only been merely doing this ritual for 10 minutes, and your wounds are completely sealed up.
Hey, it worked, guys. Thank you.
And you just feel so completely energized, like nothing had ever happened to you.
Woohoo!
And they have no idea what to say. In fact, they're looking at you almost in fear. How is it possible? This is a 24-hour ritual, and your wounds would still take days to heal, maybe weeks. How? There must have been some outside influence that we didn't know about.
I'll tell you guys about it later. Am I still parked outside?
Yeah, you'd assume so.
No, I'm giving them a hard time, like high spirits and just being crazy self. And I think all of a sudden, like, I start to become rational, and now I'm more interested in what they're doing. Because I'm listening to this voice in the back of my head, and it's telling me, what things does it want to know, and what does it want to find out. So I'm asking about her death, and if they know anything about it. So how did Liz die? Like, they're still in shock about this thing, and I've moved on. So how did Liz die?
It was during the war. There was a quartering where the men, the soldiers, basically used Liz's home as a sort of an outpost during the war times. And as far as the story goes, she became unruly and tried to kill them in their sleep or something. The story goes like that. So the commander had to make quick action, and she was murdered out of self-defense. As far as we know. That's what the army claimed hundreds of years ago.
So I reach back and I start scratching my head, and I hold my hand out, and all of a sudden there's a dagger in it, and it's this same one I described. It's got the British Army scratched out and the crown on it, and it's kind of rusty. And I don't know how it got there. I'm like, something like this?
And Magdalene takes a look at it. Yeah, that's their insignia, the British Army. How did you get this? It certainly seems old.
I start to feel a little bit of anger, and the fire inside is starting to hurt my stomach. And as soon as that happens, it just dissolves in her hand.
Ooh.
For some reason, it doesn't surprise me. Like, somehow I knew that would happen.
And she looks over. She says, "You are not normal. Ever since you arrived here, things have been fairly odd. And you're... Did you just make that knife disappear?"
Yeah, I think so.
I think, I don't know. There's something that seems familiar about you, though. I don't feel threatened by you, although your abilities are seemingly far beyond what any of us could do in a matter of hours over extended rituals. It's odd, but I don't feel threatened by you.
Well, I'll chalk it up to a job well done.
Now, pretty much the familiarity that they sense with you is basically that of Liz.
Right, right,
Liz bound with you, which is why they don't feel threatened, because these are basically very devout followers, and they're very, very honorable to Liz.
right.
So their connection with her is strong through belief system, and also the worship and the statues and all the stuff that has to do with Liz. But they definitely sense that something familiar about you now, because you were basically the physical embodiment of Liz Howe, in a sense.
I think I know how my Geist is going to communicate. I think that the only time I actually talk to it, like actually see it and talk to it, interact with it, is when I'm in this building talking to the statue. But other than that, it gives me a voice in the back of my head, like my conscience.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So
Geists are pretty much, yeah, they're always constantly looming behind you.
yeah, they have influence, and it's kind of, you're not really supposed to be able to just talk to them in person anytime you want, but I think it's reasonable that I can hear her voice near the statue and talk back to it.
And Liz, now you can hear Liz's voice. She says, "So these, in a sense, are my sisters. Now, they're some of the greatest followers, or greatest sisters, if you will, of the pagan, the sisterhood we call it. They can help us in a lot of senses. I mean, I've been in contact with some of them, though it's hard for me to reach out to them. I've left a lot of how would you call it? It's sort of an essence of my power. It's ectoplasma. Kind of looks like blood in a sense. It's basically part of my power that I used to manifest before I merged with you. So I've left a lot of hints of plasm here. So the Sisterhood not only can be very helpful to you, but this cathedral as it is was once my home and is now something much greater. It could be our home, and if ever you feel that you need a source of power, here is one of the many places you might find it, because I've left so much of myself behind here."
Cool.
So basically, she kind of haunts this place, in a sense.
Right.
It's her presence is very prime here, and it's basically, what do you call it? A haunt?
Um,
A place for
well,
you to draw power, your plasm?
right. Well, haunts, it depends on. I didn't read all the rules for haunts, but haunts are more like places full of death. But it could very easily be a high place. Which I think can reasonably still have plasm. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, well, this place has quite a bit of manifestation, ectoplasma from Liz. So it's
Right.
at least a small source of power for you that you can actually consider it a place to regenerate your plasma.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And yeah, I can at least say that much. So it's kind of like it's your little. You can even use it. It's I kind of made the place, following obviously to have it make sense of how things change in the future and how great, how much Liz Howe changed just from not being hung, how she changed, paganism as we know it in the New World, and how it's a much more sought after things, and a lot of things are a lot more open. It's the existence of vampires. Not everybody knows about them, but the neo-pagans, oh yeah, we've crossed with them a couple of times. We try and stay away, but yeah, we know they exist. They're in New York and places like that.
Yeah.
Things have drastically changed in that sense. But this is also, you can treat it like a kind of like a base of operations.
Okay.
If you wanted to. It's it's an order I made up. So it's the first house of the lady. It's the Sisterhood of Neo-Paganism that Liz Howe founded 10 years after the Salem witch trials, which if you bring up to anybody now, it's kind of a joke. Oh, Salem witch trials, yeah, that was a blunder.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. As for your merits, do you have haunt at all in your merits?
I actually do not. I was planning on buying it after. I have some storytelling elements that like I said I said before the recording. She's gonna compel me to buy some manifestations to finish one of her tasks, which are going to be that of pure rage. And then after I fulfill her goals, then I'm allowed to do what I want with my stuff, so that I can buy haunts and stuff.
Now, so this now I don't know how it is in Geist, but in Mage, you have oh crap! I just gotta look at the sheet first. It's called Sanctum. Is it Sanctum? Yeah, Sanctums. Sanctums are basically places where a mage can, it's kind of like your haunt, where you can regenerate your either your mana or in this case your plasm. But in the world of mage, they explain having demesne or domains. It's spelt like this, demesne. And basically what those are, they are just magically enriched places that can exist all over the world for whatever reasons. You don't have to have merits to own them. It's just a place to be passing through, and it's like, and the mage goes, oh wow, this place is enriched with mana. In fact, if I stay here, I could regenerate my own. Same thing. I'm treating this as kind of like your haunt that is not something you officially own, but if you were to spend a significant amount of time in there, you could regenerate your plasm.
Yeah, the thing that haunts give is, well, plasm is kind of like a resource. So like if I go to a haunt and eat it all, it'll take a long time for it to come back. I think. I don't know what the timing is on it, but the way it's described is like, I don't know, you eat it, but you absorb it somehow. And so if I were to just find some plasm sitting around, which is perfectly normal, it would be like in a place that people don't normally go to, like in the bottom of a swamp that's full of graves. And the swamp might also have a lot of poisonous things in it that I just so happen to be immune to.
Well, say if somebody had Haunt 1, what can that give them as a resource back?
Well, technically, they have to. I think they have to buy 3 haunts to get anything useful because the haunt merit has 3 properties to it.
Like size and stuff like that.
Accessibility, fluidity, and residue. And I think residue is how much plasm it has, and fluidity is probably how easy you can get into the underworld from it. So, yeah, what it gives you is it's a place to meet with your crew. It's a place to manipulate ghosts. So if I wanted to like include a ghost in a ceremony, or tell him, this is where you're going to meet me and talk to me, or draw one out of the underworld because I want to tell him to go kill somebody for me. This is the kind of place I'd go. It gives me a gate to the underworld if I spend enough money on it, or merits on it, and if I sleep in it, it alters the way I regenerate, meaning I can't regenerate anything because I'm having nightmares, except for I think it helps me get plasma. I can't remember the exact details of the rule. But
okay, well, what does a residue one dot of residue give you?
It's not broken down very well. I think I have to go through the whole thing just to find that part. Because as soon as haunt's over, it just jumps straight into mementos. Sleeping in a haunt prevents you from regaining willpower because you have, you don't refresh because you're getting nightmares. Let's see. Haunts usually could be it represents the strength of its connection to the other world. Residue provides an area with access to additional plasm. So I'm dealing with ghosts. Which plasm that forms a haunt almost always does. Okay, so it comes back at midnight every day. And let's see. And I have to inhale them. I have to inhale them.
Okay, so the plasm, you can inhale
It's a dirty
plasm.
habit.
So the residue, you have to inhale residue to recharge your plasm, and the residue resets at midnight every night?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it'll definitely work like that. I just want to know number-wise, how much can you inhale with one?
It's at the very end of that paragraph. Each dot of haunt residue indicates 1 point of plasm that the Xeno generates each week. Hold on. Actually, at night usually. Oh, okay. Okay, it's weekly. It's one. So residue of 1 would be every week, and it would come midnight on some day of the week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of worded strangely.
Okay, so... And that's if you were to create... That's like if you have your own haunt, right?
Yeah.
Well, this will be like a borrowed haunt, and
Okay.
we'll say it's like we'll start it off as a haunt 1, so you can regenerate a plasm point every week. We'll treat it as a haunt 1 for now, but I'm not putting it past it becoming stronger. But we'll start it off as if it's a 1 dot residue.
Cool.
It's just, it'll just be another place that you don't own, but you can go in and you can inhale some of that plasma if you want to stick around there once a week. And you're like, yeah, okay, guys, let's go over and see the pagans. Okay, yeah, just give me a second. All right.
Then I just stand around talking to a statue for a while. No, I won't do that. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll order some pizza. Hey guys, Liz wants to know what you want on your pizza.
I guess that would conclude the recording then, wouldn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
All right. So I'll at least end the broadcast. So that is it. You are a gheist.
Yay!
You're officially bound with Elizabeth Howe.